Good afternoon, Senator. I'm from Wethersfield. I do a lot of research on the state of Connecticut, and I know you've been talking about the state of Connecticut off and on regarding problems we have. And these same problems go straight across this country. But in the case of Connecticut, I'd like to talk for a moment about the long-term obligations. We have a report that came out by OPM, and of course you're not going to be involved in this, but you are also. But it talks about the state's long-term obligation, which was a total of $61.7 billion. And that's up 7.1% from last year. We increased over 12 months $4.1 billion in debt and unfunded mandates, which now today we have $61.7 billion that we owe. We also have in the state pension funds, and you've mentioned some of those as the day has been going on here. The state of Connecticut has two large pension retirement funds. One is the state employee retirement fund, which they have over 42,000 people getting a disbursement every month. The disbursements that they're getting are in excess of $105 million per month. Okay? Totally, with annualized, it's $1.2 billion.
Yeah,
What I want to say is we are spending. If we're looking for a place to cut, it's those pension funds that are costing us so much money, and the investment that those pension funds are bringing in are extremely little.
No, I know the pensions are woefully underfunded, and it's committing future taxpayers to onerous taxes, which, to be honest, people won't stay here to pay. You know, when I first came to Connecticut, I moved from California back in 2004, and you know, I simply made my decision initially. I looked at the marginal income tax rate, and Connecticut was much lower than New Jersey and New York. And so for me, it was a lot cheaper to live in Connecticut and bring my business here and employ people here, even though there's some other problems. To me, my income was such that the marginal rate of tax was the key ingredient to me. And so, I was from Connecticut, I was born here, so there are other things about Connecticut that I like, but certainly taxes are a consideration. But based on the fiscal problems of the state of Connecticut, taxes are going to have to go up so much in the future that I might not stay here to pay them, and neither might a lot of other people. You know, I've got an office down in Palm Beach in Florida. The income tax in Florida is zero. My mother lives in Florida. The weather's nice down there. You know, if you raise taxes high enough, I can just pull up my stakes and go to Florida and take my business with me. And so then not only doesn't the state of Connecticut get my tax revenue, they don't get the tax revenue for my employees. And if all my employees have to put their house on the market because they want to move to Florida, it depresses the property. I mean, so we're at that point where we can't simply keep raising taxes. We have to be realistic about the ability of the state to make these payments. And of course, the payments are very, very generous. I mentioned earlier that the average government worker, even on the federal government, with salaries and benefits, is earning twice the average private sector worker. They're obviously way overpaid. And no one has the guts to say it, and no politician wants to say it because they vote. And no one wants to say, I'm going to cut your salary. But a lot of people in the private sector are earning less money than they were 5 or 10 years ago. Especially people that work on commission, certainly. But a lot of people, a lot of employers have had to cut back on pay. Why are government workers exempt from that process? They can't be, especially since the people who are paying the salary, the taxpayers, are getting poorer and poorer. You know, we're loaded up with debt, we've got no savings, we've lost our home equity. How can we keep paying our employees all these extravagant packages?